So remember the time when your grandmother put her spare cash into Milo tins or biscuit tins because she doesn't trust the bank, or maybe she doesn't know what to do with her money, and because financial literacy at that point of time isn't the best. But today in 2022, things are very different right now.
Same, but different.
We have so many tools available at our fingertips, and the problem we have is paralysis by analysis. And this means that we analyze too much that we end up not making a decision. So in today's video, I'm going to share the places I put my spare cash, and I'm not sponsored by any of these platforms. And yes, some of them do carry some risks, which we have seen like in the latest market crash. So if you cannot take such risks, consider the following with the first option, which is the safest one that we have. So the safest option in this list is CIMB Fast Saver, which is a super high yield bank account in my own personal opinion. So basically what CIMB Fast Saver is a regular savings account, but in October 2022, with the deposits war that's happening with all the banks, consumers like us get to choose where to put our money because they are offering super high interest. And personally, I like CIMB Fast Saver because you can open an online account, and the best part of this is that there's no frills of getting an interest of as high as 1.1%. And definitely there are many other banks out there that provide super high risk as well, but then there are some hoops that you need to jump through, and this makes things kind of complicated because everyone's financial situation and commitments are very different. So for example, with UOB One Card, by spending $500 a month for 3 months, and then either crediting your salary of $1,600 into your UOB account or making 3 gyro transactions can give you up to 3.6% of interest, which is pretty awesome. But the caveat here is that you need to be spending $500 a month for 3 months and credit a salary or gyro 3 bills. And let's say if you're a student starting out, this might not be the best option for you because you have much lesser expenses, and $500 a month, and if you think about it, spending money to save money might not be the wisest choice. And on top of that, there are transactions that are excluded from the $500 spend, which can include rental, preloading of prepaid cards, wallets, school fees, tax, government services, and much more. And this is kind of why I use the CIMB Fast Saver as my main savings account, because for the first $10,000, you get 1.1% just for depositing money in there, no risk, no frills. But if you have much more money than that, the interest then scales to 1.5% when you have at least $50,000 deposited, and 20% when you have $75,000 deposited, but then the interest is calculated in tranches, so that is something for you to take note of. And on a scale of 1 to 10 of the safety, this will be like 10-10 because in Singapore we have SDIC, which insures our money up to $75,000 in deposits with any banks in Singapore. So the second place I'm putting my money is in T-bills and SSB, which has been the talk of the town because they're providing sky-high interest rates of 3% and upwards. So T-bills are short-term government securities that individuals like me and you can easily purchase at a discount, and T-bills have a tenure of 6 to 12 months, which is pretty short in terms of investment period. So if you're interested in investing in T-bills, they come in lots of $1,000. So let's say if you have a 3% discount for a 6 months T-bills, this means that you only pay $985 at the end of the tenure, and you'll be paid back $1,000 when the thing matures. So something to know is that T-bills are not as flexible as SSB because you're not able to touch your funds while you have them locked in or you have them invested. But Singapore Savings Bond or SSB on the other hand works a little bit different. So SSB has a maturity period of 10 years, which is pretty long, but then SSB gives you the flexibility to redeem these bonds at any time without any penalty. However, SSB pays interest every 6 months, so with a $1,000 investment at the current SSB rate of 3.2%, you can look to receive roughly $15.40 every 6 months, or $32 per year for the next 10 years. So something that you might want to try is to accumulate this interest and then reinvest them back into SSB or T-bills depending on your timelines, and this is a good way to compound your money. And by investing into these securities, you have to understand that it carries a little bit more risk but provides you with a much higher interest rates. So if on a safety scale, this is probably like an 8 or 9, but they are still relatively safe as long as nothing happens to Singapore. So let's say if you're someone who's very risk averse, the next two platforms are on the risky side of things and might not be very suitable for you. So in the last 2 months, I've been trying out a platform called Dezy. So basically, Dezy is a platform that diversifies your money into different DeFi protocols and then pays you a 5.5% APY, which is extremely high. So DeFi or decentralized finance might sound like something very scary because we have heard of platforms toppling like Anchor Protocol, Luna, UST, and the whole shebang, which kind of brought us to where we are in the current situation in the world.
That's it, the whole shebang.
But truth be told, DeFi do carry some risk and is very risky as compared to other forms of traditional investment because you are using crypto, which is already volatile to do things like lending and borrowing. But having said that, we all know that crypto could be the future of money and some might not want to miss out on this opportunity as well. And at the same time, learning about crypto requires quite a bit of time and effort, and basically not all of us here have the privilege to gain that kind of knowledge because of the work and lifestyle that we have. So Dezy so far has given me some good yields like $10 for the last 2 months, and they do provide you with some bonus if you complete their Learn and Earn program on the app. And once you're done with the Learn and Earn program, you can just get a $40 bonus, which then generates interest for you as well. And it's kind of like free money in some way. But the caveat to this is that the bonus amount can only be withdrawn after 90 days, so it kind of forces you to keep your money in there. But nonetheless, if you really have some spare cash and want to dabble into some DeFi but you lack the knowledge, Dezy could be something to consider, and I'll leave a link in the description down below where you can check out and get a $25 bonus if you deposit $1,000 in your account and you leave it there for like 30 days. But once again, this method is on the higher risk side of things, so think through before putting your money in there. And lastly, we got Gemini. So I do keep some cryptocurrencies here because they seem to provide the best yield rates for the crypto scene right now. So I'm only using these because I got cryptocurrencies lying around, and yes, they are considered my spare cash in one way or the other, and they are just lying around or in my wallets doing nothing. So it only makes sense for them to make more money for me instead of just lying around doing nothing.
You're doing is lying around!
And if you do not have any crypto, it's really a personal choice right now if you want to invest some money into crypto or not. This is not financial advice because I've lost money in crypto. So in Gemini, I'm holding mostly Bitcoin and USDC in the Gemini Earn program. The Earn program is a loans program on Gemini that loans out your cryptocurrency that you deposit to borrowers, and they earn a small fee and then they pay you some interest. So think of it like how a bank would do the same. So when you deposit money into the bank pays you some interest, they take your money and they loan it to someone else. Gemini does the same thing. But the only difference here is that we are paid in crypto, and in traditional finance, we are paid in fiat. And secondly, the interest is much higher on Gemini. So with USDC, I'm getting roughly 5% APY with my current balance of 583 USDC. And I've gotten roughly at 1.2 USDC in interest, which is pretty okay. And Bitcoin is something new that I just added in, so the earnings are still pretty low, and the overall yield for Bitcoin is at 2.75%, which is not too bad accounting that I'm being paid in Bitcoin and not fiat, which gives me a higher probability and potential to grow this much more. So same as Dezy, Gemini is in the realm of risk super high because it's in crypto, so you don't really have to follow if you cannot take the risk. So one of the biggest questions here is, where should I start with so many options right now? So the most logical way is to start with the least risk. So this ensures that your base or your emergency fund of at least 3 to 6 months is there and it's solid before investing and making your money work for you. So if you're just starting out, I guess putting money into CIMB Fast Saver to build up a good amount of cash and then moving the extra money into SSB or T-bills might be a good move. So for things like Gemini or Dezy, it requires a bit more risk tolerance because we saw what happened with Luna, and that literally changed how the world works. So this brings us to the end of today's video. I hope it has brought you some value, and I'll greatly appreciate if you could drop a like, subscribe, turn on the notifications, and as always, stay safe, invest safe, and I'll see you in the next video.